feel like it's evolved a lot since I've taken your course. My name is Gene Kuntz. I have a practice here in Austin, Texas, and my practice primarily is a private practice where I see patients inside of an office. And right now I'm working on a couple of different means of passive income through wellness, such as a tincture line and some different mercantile goods. I graduated from the Academy of Oriental Medicine in Austin, Texas. I spent about half my time before that at TCTC, another school here in Austin, Texas, and then transferred. Graduated in 2017.
What were you feeling most frustrated with before the six-figure speaking makeover mentorship?
I was feeling like somebody stuck me in the center of a maze. I was like, all right, well, I know I need to go a direction. I just don't know what direction that is. I had just finished school, so there were actually several opportunities that just kind of fell into my lap. One private client owned a infertility clinic, and the other one owned a addiction recovery center. So I found myself starting a business with a couple of partners, and we kind of just were like, we're just going to do it all. We're going to treat everybody. So we started in both these places, the infertility and addiction. And then after your course, I realized that we'd be a lot more effective in picking one. And whenever we did that, it set me down, a business that did well for several years.
Awesome. You're really focused, huh?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your journey through, because you did that, you were in a partnership, and then you practiced by yourself. And then during COVID, you had some realizations and you're going a different direction. So tell us a little bit about that journey. For example, when you first were part of that partnership, what are some things that perhaps now in looking back, what are some things that pearls or lessons that you've learned through that experience? For example, because many times a lot of practitioners who do consider being in partnerships might just jump into it without thinking about a lot of things. So now that you've had that experience, what's some advice you would have or things that you feel like were pearls for you from the experience?
I went into business with a couple of people that I felt like I knew pretty well. And, people always, I feel like a lot of mentors will mention, make sure that you hash everything out at the beginning, like have all of your legal documents in order, and also make sure that you are protecting yourself, because no one else, well, at least I've found, no one else is gonna really protect you. It's important to make sure you have everything in writing and to keep copies of all your documents. And that's mainly so that it's very easy to have a conversation with somebody and be like, well, I said this or I said that, and to have completely different recollections of the same conversation. So as much clarity as you can have at the beginning, to take out any of the personal aspects, like at the beginning as well, to say, look, this is, whether even a small little business venture I have with my dad, we have everything in writing. And it's also kind of fun. It's an experiment where we get to learn about business together and how to be really thorough.
Wonderful. Yes, it's one of those things where it can be easy to think, oh yeah, we have good connection and then we don't need to write this down. But the truth is that even communication with your very favorite person, there can always be a different, one thing could be said and then it can be interpreted a different way than how it was intended. So you just bring up a really good point about how it's just helpful to be on the same page, even in writing, so that everyone remembers.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then you sign something and then you hold yourself and the other person accountable. It feels very clear whenever these things are, to create that foundation at the beginning.
So tell us a little bit about that first business there that you were in with the partners, and just a little bit about what you did as a practice and what that was like initially for you.
Yeah, we started with the in vitro fertilization, and then I found that after taking your course, I realized that a lot more of what I enjoy doing lined up with addiction recovery. And so focusing on things like stress management and anxiety was right up my alley, especially with some other training that I've had as well. So we focused on that. We got contracts with addiction recovery centers to go out there and offer massage therapy and acupuncture. So we hired a couple of contractors to, as well as myself, to fulfill those. We also did mind-body classes like Qigong and Tai Chi, that was one of my favorite parts, getting to go out there and teach and share some things that have worked for me to deal with anxiety and stress management and stuff like that.
That's really cool. I'm sure some of our listeners right now are wondering, how did you approach these kinds of places to get them to be willing to sign a contract? Tell us about that.
So research is important. Some people you can just go talk to and you got a smile on your face and they maybe get a feel for your energy and think, well, that might be something that's beneficial for the people in my space. But also coming in and saying, these are some of the statistics we use with, I specifically used a lot of statistics from NADA protocol or AcuDetox, the ear acupuncture, because that's been seen to be really beneficial for addiction recovery. So I think going in with, well, there's of course networking events that we did a lot of that, did some free stuff where you went in and just said, hey, let us do chair massage for everyone that works in your place. Also going out and speaking in front of people. I was lucky enough to, when I say lucky, I presented a pretty good, I guess, case or reason why I was a good speaker for the Texas Association of Addiction Professionals. So I went and they had a 15-minute segment where I taught Qigong and introduced the business. And so that really I got people moving in their chairs and stuff like that. And then it was a really easy icebreaker to go and say, hey, what's up? You know, I'm the guy that made you get up and flap your arms like a goofball. That was really beneficial in that.
When you would mainly end up having contracts with them where it would be mainly helping the people who were experiencing addiction, or also them and the people who work there?
Right. So we did both. We offered the massage therapy and acupuncture to both the residents and the techs and anybody who worked there, everybody from the president of the company to, the guy that was washing dishes or whatever. And we found that it's a symbiotic relationship. If I can help the person that's helping other people, then it will ultimately help the residents. So we offered the same service and same discount to those people.
Sometimes a question will come up, are they paying for it with insurance, or they're just paying for it out of pocket, or how does that usually end up working for the company?
Right. This particular one, everything was paid out of pocket by the resident. So in our particular business, we focused on not necessarily super high end, but moderate to higher end addiction recovery centers so that people were able to pay out of pocket. And then as far as the classes where I would teach, well, I still do this. I still teach Qigong, and pre-COVID was doing AcuDetox. Two different kind of avenues that we took there.
So one was covered by the resident.
So the classes, if we're doing a group setting, that is more often covered by insurance, the AcuDetox and the Qigong class or movement class.
So these were usually done at the facilities then?
Always done at the facility. Some of the classes are taught outside, like some beautiful places in Austin. So I can take people just about anywhere and teach them Qigong or Tai Chi, but every treatment was done in their facility. And then we had a clinic space set up, or I have a clinic space set up so that when someone gets out of their residential program, I'm still able to offer continued care to them as well. So
Wonderful.
it helps to funnel my business.
Yes, you're able to provide that continuity of care, and it also helps with your practice too. Mm-hmm. So you did that first with partners, and then you decided to be more on your own. Then what did your practice look like? Was it still mainly addiction recovery and then partly other things too, or how did that look pre-COVID?
We decided to part ways in the business, and then there was a little bit of lull. I feel I kind of got shook from the way we parted, and then decided to focus all my attention on addiction recovery. I went out and hired someone to help me manage the business, and also hired several more practitioners to cover all of the massages and acupuncture.
We'll talk a little bit coming up here about how your practice evolved from there, and especially with COVID. You had done the six-figure speaking makeover mentorship when you were first in the partnership. So I'm curious, what do you feel like, what opened up for you from the six-figure speaking makeover mentorship?
Right.
How did it help your practice?
It really helped us focus on one particular thing. Like I said, I feel like we're going to treat everybody in the whole world. Everybody needs acupuncture. And I do agree with that. I think everybody could benefit from some type of holistic care. However, it was unrealistic for me, and it kind of felt like it dispersed a lot of our energy while taking the class. There were two ideas that you brought up that it kind of changed everything. It was, first of all, finding what's the unique thing that I have to offer. And so whenever I began to really delve into that and see what kind of things really resonated with me, that's whenever we took off and focused completely on addiction recovery. And of course, I don't want to give away too much of your class stuff, but the $1,000 problem, that was huge too. Like, how do we help people in a substantial way?
And what about how did it help you with the speaking side of things?
It gave me a format to deliver a talk, which I feel like was really, really important. It's easy to just be like, well, I know about this stuff. I'm just going to go and start talking. I feel like there were some key things that you mentioned, especially just one of them that comes off the top of my head was starting with something to the effect of some type of question to get a person immediately engaged in what I'm talking about, even before I say my name, which is always, every time I've ever done a talk before that, I'm like, hey, my name's Gene Kuntz, I do such and such. But to immediately connect and grab people's attention that was a big learning experience for me.
Awesome. What was it like to have the done for you templates and scripts?
Well, I feel like it made things of course it streamlined things, made them a lot easier. It was almost like, here's your template, your script, just fill in the blank, just fill in the rest. I know that, I don't even know how I would have begun to create a template or a script. It's like it seems like a really fundamental thing. I feel like it is fundamental, but often it's overlooked how important it is to have that kind of consistency of delivery. And
what was it like to be a part of the mentorship with other practitioners?
Oh man, it was really nice to feel like, especially as an acupuncturist, so many times we go out and we're just out there alone and we're like, wow, unless you work for, modern acupuncture or something like that, you're out there a lot of times as a sole practitioner. So it was really inspiring to hear other people's stories and what was unique to them and how they were going to deliver it. I feel like it really broadened my idea of what was possible.
Yes, because there are people in it who have been practicing a long time, right? So.
Oh yeah, some people were. And I know at least one of them personally, and she's a force for sure. Very inspiring lady.
What was this like for you, being a part of the mentorship as an introvert?
It's funny. I took what is it? Is it Myers-Briggs, the one that's INFJ type stuff?
Mm-hmm.
I took that a while back and saw that I am 51% introvert.
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm pretty balanced as far as needing that space to be able to kind of recluse, as well as to go out and engage with other people. Once again, taking the class is a great way to feel supported by other practitioners and a community, and going out and doing something scary or intimidating, and exciting. So I think that as far as being an introvert, seeing that other people can do it and are doing it is really inspiring.
So you had this practice where it was quite a bit addiction based, and then at first partnership, and then you ended up going off on your own, and then you hired other practitioners. How quickly did that become pretty busy?
Oh my gosh. Pre-COVID, even my fiance now is like, hey, you need to take a break. I was working 6.5 days a week, and it didn't take long. These types of contracts, one contract would give me at the very least a full day of work. So you can imagine, you got some of these contracts be 2 or 3 days of work. So if I wanted to just do this myself,
you mean like per
just
week?
a few, right. It would just be, I would only need 3-ish contracts to have 7 days of work per week.
What got you so inspired to?
During COVID, I have taken more Chinese herbal medicine than I have in probably my entire life. Just dealing with anxiety, dealing with depression, dealing with stress, because it was such a subtle thing. I think that it's not just myself, but a lot of people were feeling sad and feeling anxious, and to be able to offer them the same very accessible care, that's the inspiring part for us.
If you knew then what you know now, what advice would you give?
Oh my gosh, I would spend several months building a foundation to really understand what inspires me, and then create a business around that.
What would you say to someone who might be on the fence considering 6-figure speaking makeover mentorship?
The 6-figure mentorship really was about, for me, it's about self-awareness. Like I really began to delve into and look at who I was and how I was going to deliver this healing modality to the community. It's so easy to just want to help everyone, and maybe that's a possibility for some people, but being able to focus in, and then like really with excitement and enthusiasm be able to deliver that healing modality to people, that's been invaluable.
Yes, because it's one of those things that we can all think, oh, I'll just reflect on it. But sometimes there's just a very different awareness that gets clear from actually having it pulled out of you, or actually going through a process that's worked and have it pulled out of you. So
couldn't agree more. Having someone, like I said, ask the right questions was I realized that, yeah, I knew everyone knows all the answers to the questions that you're going to ask, but they don't, or I didn't know the question. I didn't know the right questions to ask myself. And I also didn't have a method in which to deliver those questions to myself in a cohesive way.
Well, congratulations for this evolving of your practice, from starting off in your practice to being in where you were in a partnership and having this focus in addiction recovery, and then going off on your own and being quite busy with that, and even hiring other practitioners to be helping you, having a moment of realization, and now looking at shifting the direction of your practice. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your journey and inspiration. For those of you who are listening and watching and you're at a plateau in your practice, it doesn't have to be that way. Or maybe if you're feeling like you're experiencing a dip in your income, then feel free to reach out and go to introvertedvisionary.com and click on the book a free strategy session with us, and happy to give you insight into your practice and see how we can help you. So go to introvertedvisionary.com. And thank you again for joining us today.